o'clock news starts right now.
A shipment of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine well received by staff at an allergy clinic in Olmos Park this morning.
That particular facility got enough doses to immunize its own workers and hundreds of others on the front lines.
As Devin Clark explains, the doctor leading the mission there says today's special delivery falls right in line with the holiday spirit.
You could call them the gifts that keep on giving.
We are very, very excited. We have received our shipment of the Moderna vaccine.
This morning, 500 doses of the emergency use authorized immunizations were dropped off at South Texas Asthma and Allergy Medical Professionals, or STAMP. President and CEO Dr. Erica Gonzalez says that she is proud to run one of the local facilities chosen by the Texas Department of Health and Human Services to administer the vaccines.
This is a tremendous relief. You have no idea how excited people are.
After letting them thaw out for 2 hours, staff members got right to work.
Right now, the priority for phase 1 is our healthcare workers and also those people living in long-term healthcare facilities that are of older age and higher risk.
Dr. Gonzalez adds that she and her team will also be administering the vaccines to San Antonio School District nurses and working with over 20 local clinics and organizations to immunize their healthcare workers and support staff during this first phase of the rollout.
This is the first step in us finally being able to get rid of this virus and end the pandemic.
And at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Dr. Gonzalez herself became the first healthcare worker to be vaccinated here at STAMP. They're going to be doing 100 vaccinations per day for the next 5 days. But with the importance of this vaccine, these healthcare workers say the opportunity to administer it is a gift in itself. Reporting in Olmos Park, Devin Clark, KSAT 12 News.
New at 6, we've seen how San Antonio has come through on a grand scale for families and others in need of food. Down in Laredo, the story is much the same on a somewhat smaller scale, but still a crucial endeavor. Jesse Degollado shows us how a Methodist pastor there and those he serves say it's not only about food, but also faith.
On a cold Laredo morning, people who were lining up outside Holding Institute Community Center could warm up with a cup of coffee prepared by Pastor Mike Smith.
We kind of know who likes what, and we take it out there and serve it.
That's how well they've come to know those who come here twice weekly for food they don't have. With the situation now, says Gloria Perales, we don't have enough. During the week of Thanksgiving alone,
It was just call after call after call about emergency assistance.
pre-pandemic, 50 or 60 weekly would come by. Now, 250 individuals and families have to rely on Holding Institute's help. Many for the first time. Most had lost their jobs.
That's a dramatic increase for us. And the question is, how do we keep it up for so long? I don't know.
Without the financial support many had before COVID, he says only a few nonprofits are left in Laredo that can help like this. The items come from local food banks, so he says he never knows what they'll have or if it'll be enough.
I know that we have to trust in something bigger and better than ourselves if we're able to do this.
Divine intervention, perhaps? Vicente Hernandez says he believes the pastor is doing God's work.
It's been kind of hard for the people of Laredo.
The people are why someone who fulfilled his community service obligation is now a faithful volunteer.
I come over here first and then I'll go do my work and then finish. As long as I can, I'll be here.
We are more rewarded in our doing than in receiving sometimes.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Vaccines or not, UT Health San Antonio is warning now is not the time to let your guard down. COVID-19 is still spreading. The numbers show it, and the hospitalizations prove it. Yet many are still traveling over the holidays. Parking lots and stores are filled with last-minute shoppers, many of them wearing masks, but staying 6 feet apart is hard to do in a crowded store. Then there were all those gatherings of family and friends that will have to be different this year, like, for instance, moving them outdoors.
The more we travel, the closer we are to other people during this holiday season, the more likely we are to put the kind of stress on our medical system that will increase needless death and disability.
Dr. Campbell says it's not too late to take the necessary precautions that could help families avoid scenes like those we've seen in COVID units where life and death struggles are a daily fact of life.
The generosity of San Antonians was on full display today. As we told you this weekend, about half the toys were stolen Friday night from a distribution event meant for the kids at the Alazan Apache Courts, a Saha public housing property. But you jumped into action to not only make it right, but make it much, much better. Garrett Berger was at the distribution event today to see the big payoff.
Merry Christmas!
Stay home, stay safe.
Load after load of presents went into car after car at the San Antonio Housing Authority today, capping off a holiday story fit for a movie.
It's the classic story of how the Grinch stole Christmas in Whoville, and we became Whoville, or the North Pole, whatever.
After some Grinches stole about half the toys meant for about 60 underprivileged kids living in public housing, it didn't take long for the word to get out and residents to get busy. They flooded a toy drive on Sunday to help replace the stolen gifts.
There were trucks, they were old cars, they were old little cars, because people throughout the community said, not in our town.
But they did far more than replace what was stolen. Saha received so many toys and money to buy more from residents, churches, nonprofits, even some private companies that had invited families from all its other public housing properties to sign up to get their kids something too. So instead of 60 kids, 1,600 will get gifts.
It's made for a busy day, 6 hours worth of distribution time, with each kid getting 2 to 3 toys, and maybe even a chance to meet the big man.
You ready for Christmas? Did we keep your room clean? Did we keep your room clean?
Saha residents thankful for the gift help in an especially stressful year.
Well, this was a huge surprise and a blessing. Because of COVID, it's just taking a toll on my life and everything else.
And impressed with the unknown neighbors who brought them.
There's so many people out here that still care about, the community and other people that struggling through this pandemic. So that is so cool.
So cool, and so San Antonio. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
A lot of happy faces. Time saver traffic now. Let's take a look at the TransGuide camera. Highway 281, Loop 410 here, the interchange. Headed towards the mall. Looks like that might be contributing to some of the backup that you're seeing there on the overpass, but definitely steady traffic we usually see this time of year and time of evening at 281 and 410.
You can't see the grin on my face here, but I'm grinning from ear to ear because this is all about community. And community is people helping people, neighbor helping neighbor. And this just underscores that in a big way.
We may be in a pandemic, but that didn't stop members with Meals on Wheels and HEB from giving some joy to seniors this morning over on the Northwest Side. It's all part of HEB's annual Feast of Sharing celebration. More than 3,400 homebound seniors were given a traditional holiday meal, complete with turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, a dinner roll, and dessert.
On the eve of Christmas Eve, thoughts of Santa are on the top of mind for a lot of kids. However, a lot of adults are looking forward to 2021. And as Katrina Weber shows us, they are ready to say good riddance to 2020.
It's the season for gift giving. And if Santa has been making a list, a lot of people say the year 2020 should be at the top of the naughty one.
Just good riddance to the whole year, but I don't want to be negative. There were a lot of good positive things that came out of it.
It's been rough, but we're getting through it.
It's not been a good year, but I'm afraid to say anything because 2021 could say hold my beer.
Foremost among the bad things people say has been COVID-19 and all that came with it, from sickness to separation, closures to Zoom meetings.
You miss seeing family and hugging family, I'm sure.
Yeah, we all do.
Good riddance to the issue of not being able to get together with one another. We're all celebrating Christmas with our own families.
You want a COVID-free year next year.
Oh, yeah.
This may be the time of year for visions of sugar plums to dance in our heads, but some people say they can't help but think about what a rotten egg 2020 has been, and they're glad to see it go. Let's not forget the election season, protests and riots, as well as superstorms. All of it adds up to a year to forget. Unless you're brand new U.S. citizen Abraham Lisama. His has been full of good news.
It was a very bad year for the economy, but we just got married not too long ago. We bought a house.
He's starting a whole new life, while most others will be happy just to welcome a new year.
Make sure you eat all your black-eyed peas whether you like them or not.
Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Gotta
my beer.
Oh, I hope she's not right. Gotta cling to the positives that we've seen in 2020. But yes, come on, 2021. We are ready.
Give us something better.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot out
That's
there.
a beautiful view.
Yeah, we'll take that sunset any day. It's gorgeous out there this evening. But here's the headline tonight. It's going to be wind. All right, wind is going to be the headline. And that does actually have something to do with our pollen count. No change in the aquifer today, but Mountain Cedar is its highest count yet at about 3,100. So that's in the high category. And with the north wind that's coming tonight, it's likely to just reinforce that cedar count. So speaking of the north wind, it's starting to creep into town right now. It's especially in the hill country. The cold front's through there. You're going to notice the colder air soon, and especially the gusty wind. You're steady at about 10 to 20 miles per hour in the hill country with some gusts right now up to 30 miles per hour. Well, come 8 or 9 o'clock, we're going to have that here in San Antonio, and then it's just going to spread southward. And wind gusts will likely be between 40 and maybe even up to 50 miles per hour later tonight, and then start to taper off by early tomorrow. So a windy night tonight. Secure your loose Christmas decorations outside and turning colder as well. I'll have more specifics on all that and Christmas coming right up.
An abundance of warnings coming from city and county leaders, medical professionals in our area as well as we head toward the holiday. Let's go live now to City Hall, where we're going to hear the latest numbers on the spread of COVID-19.
San Antonio community. Tonight we're reporting another high number, 1,629 new cases of COVID-19, which brings our total to 106,793 and the 7-day moving average to 1,208. Unfortunately, we also do have 8 new deaths to report tonight of several age ranges and ethnicities, including 2 Hispanic males in their 30s and 50s, 2 Hispanic females in their 60s and 70s, a black female in her 50s, a white male in his 80s, a white female in her 90s, and another female in her 90s. That brings our total deaths from COVID-19 to 1,479. Please keep their friends and family and survivors in your prayers this evening. We have far too many families in our community that have to be without a loved one because of COVID-19 during this holiday season. The stress in our hospital system continues to increase. We have 945 COVID-19 patients in our hospitals tonight. That's up 33 from yesterday. We've had 129 new admissions for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. 290 patients are in the ICU and 152 are on ventilators. So here's some positive news to report, an update on vaccines in Bexar County. As you know, the Pfizer vaccine began arriving late last week. The Moderna vaccine began arriving this week. So far, roughly 18,796 doses have been administered in Bexar County. It's actually slightly more than that. Most of the doses are being allocated to local hospitals. Metro Health will receive 1,100 of the Moderna vaccine, and the plan is to use doses for the following populations: assisted living facility staff, home health staff, hospice staff, Metro Health clinic staff, and staff assisting with the vaccination efforts. We're going to begin providing regular updates on the vaccines during these briefings on Wednesday evenings. Let me turn it over now to Judge Wolf.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor, and thanks for mentioning the problem we're facing in hospitals. I was looking back on some of our old data. I think on July the 15th, we popped up to 30%, so we're over halfway there right now, and we know that's going to continue to grow because of all the infection rates. Hospitals follow maybe 2 weeks later, then they end up in the hospital, and so it's definitely going to continue to grow higher. I was on a conference call today with some of the county judges where they're on this 15%. And Dr. Hellerstedt, who's the Commissioner, Department of State Health Services, briefed everybody on it. I made two statements to him. One, that we may very well spike as high as 1,700, and that's going to stretch us way beyond what we face in the summer, and that we're going to need a lot of additional medical personnel. And then I said, you know, you're the health professional for the state. You should make a recommendation to the governor that people should be fined if they're walking around without a face mask. What the governor put in place now which is a warning and then a $250 fine, is not enforceable. It's impossible to do it. And I told him that we're, enforcing the law with respect to employers, and it wasn't fair to them if customers and whatnot still run around without a face covering. So he was going to pass it on. I thought maybe coming from him, Governor may listen to that a little bit more. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal today, and it was talking about Britain and the big spread that they're having with COVID, and I wondered why that was so fast and so quick. And according to the data in the story, there's been some 23 mutations of COVID-19, of which 17 have an impact on the behavior of the virus, and that it's possible, some evidence that a new strand is there and it's passing quicker, and it could be going faster than some 50% and rapidly spreading. So they don't know that for sure, but it's a pretty good shot that it might be. And we don't know whether it's in the United States or not, but it could be. And so we're in a much more dangerous situation if indeed it is moving faster than this new strand. So, it's what we've been saying from the start. You got to be really careful, and face covering and social distancing and sanitation, and please not overdo it with too many folks in the same household over Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you, Judge. And no matter where you go in the state of Texas, around the country, and even around the world, they're facing a surge, not unlike what we're facing here. And yet, it is very simple to stop the spread of this virus. Simply wear a face covering. The way this virus transmits from one person to another is from droplets that go from one person's mouth or nose to another person's nose or mouth. And all that.
Continued warnings there from the mayor and the county judge about the ways in which we can all stop the spread of COVID-19 in our community, but the numbers really tell the big story. New cases reported today, 1,629 new cases, 8 new deaths, and 945 people right now in our area hospitalized with COVID-19.
And that 7-day average now at 1,208. Something they didn't mention today, as we saw going into the Thanksgiving holiday, was the announcement of a curfew over the Thanksgiving holiday. No mention of that. Does not appear that they're going to go that route for the Christmas holiday and New Year holiday as well.
And something that stuck out to me that the judge said, the county judge, he said that there's a possibility, he mentioned in a call with some state leaders today, he mentioned the possibility of us going beyond 1,700.
Right.
And I believe he was referring to people hospitalized with COVID-19. That's beyond where we were during the summer surge. We might need additional medical personnel if that were the case. That's really the first time I believe we have heard him say that in reference to the surge that we're in right now. We're going to talk with Dr. Ruth Berggren, an infectious disease specialist, coming up a little bit later. So hopefully we can ask her about what she's seeing in these numbers and what the projections look like for where we are with COVID-19.
All right, let's check in with Adam.
Yeah, and the big headline tonight is going to be the wind. It is going to be a very gusty night, so if you have the inflatables out in the yard, you've been duly warned, okay? This is one of those nights where you may want to keep them deflated or really anchor them down. Let's take a look at the overall weather pattern. We have a big winter storm system that's taking shape right now across the Northland and parts of the Great Lakes and Midwest there. Snow already stretching all the way south down into Kansas. A lot of kids are going to be happy to have a white Christmas here behind this system, not here in Texas, but we're going to notice some cooler temperatures. After being well into the 70s today, we're going to drop down into the 50s tomorrow for high temperatures because of this cold front. Right now, behind the front on the cold side of it, we're down below freezing already in the Panhandle. Amarillo at 30, Lubbock 35, 48 Abilene. See those temperatures just fall off the farther away from that front you get, and you go north into Texas. Still warm around here. We're 70 degrees in San Antonio, but down to 56 in Fredericksburg. Their wind has shifted. The cold front is through Fredericksburg. It's into Kerrville, Uvalde, Hondo area, and moving into San Antonio as we speak. The gusty winds will follow close behind. Here's our future cast for the steady winds. By about 7, 8 p.m., we're looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts up to 40 to to maybe 50 miles per hour. That's going to last through the night and then taper off by tomorrow morning. So a very windy evening and a windy night, gusts between 40 and 50. Temperatures falling off pretty quickly as well. We'll be down near 50 degrees at 10 p.m. Tomorrow morning. Not as breezy out there, but you'll feel the chill. 34 degrees to start the day with a hill country freeze, by the way, and then sunny and only upper 50s tomorrow afternoon. Christmas morning, a freeze right near 30 degrees, and then sunny, comfortable in mid 60s by the afternoon, and even warmer this weekend back into the 70s.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
Sports is next.
Led by head coach Greg Popovich, the Spurs will tip off their new season tonight at the Memphis Grizzlies. Spurs second-year guard forward Keldon Johnson will suit up after missing the preseason with a toe injury. He said he's added 7 to 8 pounds of muscle, which Rudy Gay has felt during practice.
He's our spark. He has unlimited energy, and he brings it every day, and that's something we need. He put on a lot of muscle. He still tries to, bully me, and that's not going to happen. But other than that, hopefully it works for other people. No, but he's dedicated. He really wants to be great.
Spurs and Grizzlies tip tonight at 7 in the first of 3 regular season matchups between the two.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott feels he's on track to play Sunday against the Eagles despite a nagging calf injury. He missed his first pro game due to injury last week and watched his replacement, Tony Pollard, scored 2 touchdowns in the boys' 41-33 win versus the Niners. He had 69 yards rushing and 63 receiving. Now, some outside the organization feel Pollard deserves a bigger role and that the team would be better for it. Well, Zeke doesn't care what they have to say.
At the end of the day, those aren't the people signing my checks. Those aren't the cats that are making the final decisions. So, I think there's a reason they're not the ones making those decisions. I don't think it really matters. It doesn't really hold much with me what people outside of this building are saying.
QB1 Dak Prescott is in the holiday spirit, getting his Cowboys teammates Segway go-karts for Christmas. They cost around $700 each. UTSA head football coach Jeff Traylor has tested positive for COVID-19 through weekly testing protocols per UTSA Athletics. He found out this afternoon and is not experiencing any symptoms. He is now in self-isolation and will continue to follow all guidance set forth by university medical staff and state and local health officials. In the event he can't travel to Dallas with the team, associate head coach, offensive coordinator Barry Lunny Jr. will serve as acting head coach this Saturday at the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. It's at 2:30 p.m. and live here on KSAT 12. After another come-from-behind win, the Stevens Falcons are prepping for undefeated Austin Westlake in the 3rd round of the Class 6A Division I playoffs. In round 2, the Falcons trailed Harlingen 21-7 entering the 4th, then dug down deep to win 28-21. Now they'll face 10-0 Westlake, who've won 20 straight after beating Smithson Valley last week 62-3, and they haven't played a game decided by less than 5 touchdowns this season.
We're excited to be here in the 3rd round of the playoffs. We've had 2 miraculous comebacks, the last 2 weeks, and so we do have some momentum on our side as we go into, a big game against Austin Westlake.
When I think about Westlake, it's a tough team, but we play in San Antonio. We have to overcome this every day, every game. So I don't think we're going to do much except play the same Falcon football we always play.
I know that they're a pretty good team. They come in the competition wanting to win, so we got to come in better than they do.
Stevens will face Westlake Saturday at 1 p.m. at Bastrop Memorial Stadium. Guys.
Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
We'll be right back. The numbers are high in our community and they are climbing by the day. For today's KSAT Q&A, right before the holiday, we're joined by infectious disease specialist Dr. Ruth Berggren with the Long School of Medicine at UT Health San Antonio. Doctor, as always, thanks for being here and sharing some great information with us. Let's talk about where we are now right before Christmas. We know the numbers are significant. They are eye-opening in our community. We're also hearing about the vaccine rollout at the same time. What do people need to know about this vaccine and any hope that it might be giving us at this moment?
Right. We're truly looking at a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is that we seem to be surging higher than we expected to surge, and we're in danger of going as high or maybe higher than we went this summer, which could mean bad outcomes for a lot of San Antonians. That's the bad news. The good news is we're rolling out this vaccine. We're rolling it out as fast as we possibly can. It's been going very efficiently and smoothly over at our Health Science Center. And we have good reason to believe that this will protect us. It's the phases, though, of the rollout mean that the people getting vaccinated now are frontline healthcare workers. We're now opening that phase. We got a message from the state of Texas Department of Health earlier today asking us to move forward from stage 1A, which is just the frontline healthcare workers, to other frontline workers that include firefighters, policemen, detention officers, even people who work in food services. And also phase 1B, according to the CDC, should include people greater than or equal to 75 years old. So we're going to start expanding that as soon as we get the vaccine and can logistically deliver it. So this is, again, it's a good news, bad news scenario. Vaccine is coming. We're opening up the phases so that more people get it, but it won't be the thing that pulls us out of the current surge. People must keep the holiday celebrations small. You really need to shut down the socializing and limit that celebration that we all want to have to the small social bubble that you're a part of.
Doctor, at the same time we're having the rollout of the new vaccine, we're also hearing this week a lot about different strains of the COVID-19 out there, possibly more infectious. Are there concerns about the vaccine working on all these different strains?
That's a very appropriate question to be asking, but all of the scientific evidence that we have available to us right now and what's being put out in the medical literature is that we should expect the current vaccine will still be protective, that the mutations are not drastic enough to alter the nature of the immune response that we need to generate with the vaccine. So we continue to believe that that's the case and march forward with our vaccination and hope that the mutations do not become more extreme or drastically alter the spike protein of the virus.
And for those who are getting vaccinated in our community, it's not you get the vaccination, you walk out of the clinic and you're vaccinated, you're unable to be infected. It will take some time, right?
Right. So you get vaccinated on your first day. Then for the Pfizer vaccine, you come back 3 weeks later. If it's the Moderna vaccine, you come back 28 days later, you get a second vaccine. And then it's 1 week later after that second vaccine that we see the maximum levels of these so-called neutralizing antibodies that are generated. And that's when we can feel most comfortable that the vaccine has fully taken. In the meantime, it is formally possible that you could still get infected, but we could hope that by at least about day 12 after the first shot that you're starting to see some protection from that vaccine, if not full protection. The other thing everybody's got to remember is that just because a person is fully protected with that full immunization with the 2 shots, that doesn't mean that they can't get a mild form of the COVID or carry it around and sneeze it out and give it to other people. We're still studying that, but until we understand that better, even when we're fully immunized, we're going to have to go around with masks on, and we anticipate that will be true for most of 2021. We hope that by the third quarter, if enough people have gotten immunized and we have enough information, that we can start relaxing some of these mitigation measures.
Every holiday we've had this year, going back to Memorial Day, we've said the same things: keep the gatherings down to a minimum, social distance, mask. People have done what they wanted to do. Some people follow the rules. A lot of people do not. I've heard a lot of excuses from folks. Well, I know somebody in my family that's had COVID. They still have the antigens in their body, or the antibodies, and I'm getting tested. Are these false senses of security to do that if you're thinking about getting together with folks?
Yes. Getting tested is useful if you come back positive. Now you know what to do. You've got to go and isolate for 10 days at least, right? But if it comes back negative, you need to know that there is a small chance that that was a false negative test. And you need to know that being negative today doesn't mean that you won't get infected later today and be positive 2 to 3 days from now. So just understand what that test result is truly telling you. And then if you absolutely know that somebody else had COVID in your family, let's say you have firsthand knowledge of their test result and that they were released to go back to work because they met all those criteria, then I think it is safe to know that that person is not going to infect you anymore, but you still have to think about yourself vis-a-vis other people. And it's a pretty rare situation where it's just you and one person who has recovered from COVID getting together. My experience socially is usually there's more people involved than that.
Dr. Berggren, we'd like to continue our Q&A right after this break, if you can stick around with us.
Certainly.
We'll be right back. We're back with infectious disease specialist Dr. Ruth Berggren. Doctor, we touched on this just briefly before the break about reinfection. For somebody who has had COVID-19, maybe an entire family has had it, they have recovered. Is there the possibility they could catch it again? Tim talked about false hopes. Is there any hope of that happening?
So reinfection is something that has been documented in a very scientific way. However, we don't think that reinfection has ever happened before 90 days from the first infection. What does this mean for people, real people? It means that if you've just gotten over COVID and let's say 3 weeks later you come down with a cold, maybe some symptoms that make you feel feverish, you think it might be COVID. If it still hasn't been 90 days since you first got sick, you don't need to go and get retested because there is little to no chance that you really have COVID again. If, however, it's been greater than 90 days since your COVID episode, and now let's say you're 6 months out, and now you're feeling the symptoms again, and they are the symptoms that all of us have been learning, the fever, the dry cough, the loss of smell or taste, body aches, chills, even gastrointestinal symptoms, if something like that is happening to you, now it would be a good idea to go and get another COVID test, because if you are one of those rare people who has gotten reinfected with COVID, you will need to isolate just as you did the first go round.
Finally, Doctor, if we could just kind of look forward here from where we are, we're continuing to see the numbers go up. Judge Nelson Wolff tonight saying that he expects that we will exceed the spike that we saw this summer. What models are you seeing, and what does that mean for our hospitals moving forward?
Right. We look at the surge demand calculator called SG2. It's a model that's commercially available to us and many other health science centers like ours around the country. It's a very reliable source. And Judge Wolff has access to the same information that we do. And whereas prior to now, the surge demand calculator was telling us that we probably wouldn't go as high as we did this summer, they've changed that, and it does look like we may in fact go there. But they open the possibility. They give us 3 different curves, like the spaghetti lines you see for hurricane predictions. And in the most favorable scenario, we could do some damage control. We can do damage control right now. We can help flatten that curve, which means that people should examine their plans for the Christmas and New Year's holidays. And this is hard to take for us because it's been so long, but we have to keep ourselves still in the guidelines. We have to keep the social bubbles really small. We can't go to bars. We can't go out and party. We can't have lots of people over to our house. That is because we care about each other. We care about life, and we want to protect as many lives as we can.
9 months in, we all know all the precautions and what we should be doing to make a change in where we are. Dr. Berggren, thank you as always for your time. Wishing you a safe and happy holiday.
Peace and health to everyone. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hold on to your hats.
A warm evening, but the winds are coming, Adam.
The winds are coming, and another thermometer winter is coming because I've got some excess inventory this year. I am so excited. And this is a very special giveaway really quickly before we get to the winners. This has the names of every crew member working behind the scenes here at KSAT right now. So I'm going to put these in a hat.
Santa Adam.
Santa Adam, and I'm going to shake it, and then I'm going to do the weather. Myra's going to pick a name when we come back out onto that two-shot.
No pressure,
That's
no pressure,
awesome.
no pressure.
No pressure. It says Arthur at the end. I'd be skeptical.
I mean, you know a guy.
All right. Becoming windy. I mean, we're talking momentarily, within an hour or two. Colder air returns tonight. A freeze for Christmas morning, but a comfortable Christmas afternoon. Good to be outdoors and outside on Christmas Day. All right, let's get to our temperatures. Take a look at the cold front that's headed our way. It's not so cold right now, actually well above average. We're at 70 degrees. We topped out in the mid 70s. Keep in mind our average high is 63, but we'll be back below that by tomorrow morning. Look upstream here where the air is coming from. North Texas, the Panhandle, Amarillo 30, Lubbock 35, Oklahoma City 35. And we've got temperatures down below zero now in North Dakota, really closer to the core of the cold air, and wind chills as low as 22 below. In Fargo, I just checked up there. Woo. All right, so here we've got the breeze. It's starting, but we don't have the cold yet. Look at the wind in North Texas. That's where we have the gusty winds behind the cold front. The cold front's hitting us basically right now. It's moving through. Within a couple of hours, you'll notice those gusty winds. Here's our futurecast. Myra, did you just pick the name? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, she'll announce it afterwards. All right. The Futurecast shows those gusty winds through the night tonight and on into early tomorrow morning. They'll start to taper off. By sunrise, it's not going to be as noticeable, but you have been warned for this evening and tonight. Yard, lawn ornaments, decorations, the inflatables, really secure them down. A steady wind, 20 to 30. Gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour. And then notice into tomorrow morning, the wind really starts to simmer down. We'll still have some gusts out there tomorrow morning, but I think that 32 mile per hour gust by this model is a little exaggerated for sunrise. Nevertheless, we'll still have some wind chills down in the mid 20s to start the day tomorrow on your Christmas Eve. So noticeably cooler. I mean, this evening, temperatures falling quickly. In a matter of hours, once that cold front hits, we'll be in the upper 50s. By 10 p.m., near 50. And then tomorrow morning, we'll start the day in the mid 30s, rising to only 58 for the high temperature. So we go from mid 70s today down into the upper 50s tomorrow with a lot of sunshine and a bit of a breeze into the afternoon northwest at about 15 miles per hour. Christmas morning, down near 30, so prepare for a freeze on Christmas morning. And by the afternoon, sunny, comfortable, and 65. And then into the upcoming weekend, we get back into the 70s with a slight chance of rain next week. All right, Myra, I had to mask up because I want to get closer for this.
Okay.
I want to see who it is.
All right.
She just picked it out of the hat.
I walked over there, and I want you to know I was cooling my heels here, kind of, just stalling.
I'm guessing.
And Patrick told me in my ear, get over there and pick a name.
Yeah, he did. I saw you going through it.
Guess whose name I picked?
No, you did!
Patrick Alvarez.
Oh my gosh, Patrick Alvarez, who told you? You know, we're going to pick another just in case. Here, pick another.
There was no hygiene.
Are they all Patrick's names in there?
There's laughter from the crew. We can hear it. Charles Lozano.
Oh, one of our engineers.
Number 2.
Congratulations.
Just to prove that there was no,
collusion.
No stuffing of the
weird
ballots.
Christmas magic happening there. In case you missed it, coming up next. What could you possibly miss? Here's today's In Case You Missed It. A shipment of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine well received by staff at an allergy clinic in Olmos Park this morning.
That particular facility got enough doses to immunize its own workers and hundreds of others on the front lines.
500 doses of the emergency use authorized immunizations were dropped off at South Texas Asthma and Allergy Medical Professionals, or STAMP. President and CEO Dr. Erica Gonzalez says that she is proud to run one of the local facilities chosen by the Texas Department of Health and Human Services to administer the vaccines.
This is a tremendous relief. You have no idea how excited people are.
San Antonio police believe a shooting where a teen died and another was injured was an accident. Police say a 16-year-old girl was apparently handling a gun when she fired one shot. It hit the 19-year-old in the head and an 18-year-old in the leg. The two victims were taken to BAMC, where the 19-year-old later died. The Bexar County Medical Examiner identifying him as Jose Ortega. No charges are expected to be filed.
Send me a suitable bill or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package.
In a White House-produced video, President Donald Trump announcing he is rejecting the COVID-19 relief package after originally signaling that he would sign that bill into law.
The generosity of San Antonians was on full display today. As we told you this weekend, about half the toys were stolen Friday night from a distribution event meant for the kids at the Alazan Apache Courts, a Saha public housing property. But you jumped into action to not only make it right, but make it much, much better.
It didn't take long for the word to get out and residents to get busy. They flooded a toy drive on Sunday to help replace the stolen gifts.
This was a huge surprise and a blessing.
This SA Salutes holiday greeting is brought to you by CPS Energy.
Hello, my name is Veronica Gutierrez with CPS Energy, and I want to say happy holidays and thank you to our first responders and veterans. I would like to take a moment and send a special thank you to my wonderful husband, Ruben, who is a San Antonio firefighter and a veteran. Thank you for all you've done and all you do to continue to support our country, our community, and our family. I love you and stay safe.
All right, very windy tonight. All right, gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour. Not as breezy tomorrow, but cooler. Mid-30s in the morning, then sunny and only upper 50s into the afternoon. A freeze Christmas morning, but a comfortable afternoon.
Thanks, Adam. And thanks for watching the news at 6.
We'll see you back here for the Night Beat tonight at 10. Have a good evening.